And yeah, welcome back to a brand new video of the Saga the Individual program. Saga the Express. What did this dude do? They're not supposed to park there, right? Tell you, these people, there's something else. Anyhow, so I had an interesting conversation with, a certain someone, and yeah, it shows you how much we have been miseducated, been lied to. This is the Easter weekend, and many Christians will be going to church celebrating the death of Christ, again, who never really actually exist, right? And even us black people, we try to make him into a black man. Again, he never existed, right? Yes, black people in early Christianity, right, was part of that religion also, because again, black people were the most populous people on the planet. So the depiction, and particularly when it comes to the Moors and their conquest of Spain, Italy, right? Greece, a lot of the images of the early images of Jesus, Mary, right, were depicted as black, right? Because that's where the gods were seen as, even in ancient Greece, they were black. All right. So one of the things that they'll do, again, when I'm going into the bank, is my card would not work on the door, right, of the bank to get into use the ATM. All right, this is what they would do, and then as I come out the bank, they'll start looking up at my hat. That's what they'll do, right? So, yeah. All up to their tricks, tracking you and surveilling you and doing all this shit, right? Which is highly illegal, right? And it's a gross neglect of, yeah, fuck you too, lady. Looking at my hands, yeah. All right? Doing all the, as she's dancing, as she see me there dancing. Why? Because early on with my daughter, I was dancing. Right? They'll tell you how they hate it. They hate it when you're happy. They hate it when you can dance and have some fun. They don't like that shit at all. Yeah, these what do you call it? These zombies, these sheeps. And I keep on calling them sheeps because that's what they are. And as she's looking down at my finger, at my finger, right? Because I'm always they always used to use that pointing finger, point at me and shit like that. So when I'm holding my cane, I'm holding my cane like this, as you guys can see, right? So they're looking down at my finger, right? And it's like, yo, I'll tell you, it's funny, man. It's funny, but it's not funny. It's funny to me that these people can be so manipulated to the point where they'll do some shit like this and call themselves good people, right? That's what they'll do now. They'll call them good people. Why? Because simple fact that I don't believe in their religious bullshit. And again, because when you know the truth, you can never go back to it and understand that religion is used to control the minds of the people, to make them docile, particularly black people, who are the most religious people in America, particularly black women. Right? Religion is used as a tool, and regardless of, and despite all the evidence that shows how their religion was created, right, out of many different ancient belief systems, right, they're so indoctrinated that they're so afraid of the truth. So some of them may leave the Christianity part. They'll say, okay, well, I'm a Hebrew. Well, the Hebrews were Greeks, right? That's who they was. right? They were part of them were Greek, were Greeks, right? Now, if you watch the Shrine of Ma'at, he talks about the Proto-Hebrew, which is the Hyksos, right? So remember, around that area, you had Greeks, you had Combatants, black Africans, you had Asians, the Asiatic people who, would call themselves the Sumerians, but again, they were still black people, or descendants of black people, right? So you got to understand, again, archaeology, geography, in order to understand what's going on and how the creation of the so-called Jesus Christ was only nothing but a myth. The story of Moses, a myth. Like I said, you can go back and there is another story, and it is I think a Mesopotamian story of putting the baby in the basket and sending that baby down the river. Now, like I said, the premise is still the same as with Moses. Put Moses in the basket, and again, Moses is a Egyptian name. It isn't a so-called Hebrew name or Israelite name. It is an Egyptian name. Same as Aaron, right? You know what I'm saying? And it tells you that Pharaoh is the one that named him Moses, right? Or his daughter named him Moses. Okay? So how does Moses become a name in Hebrew when, there was no Hebrew language? There was a people who called themselves Hebrew and Israelite, but they spoke Greek. Again, they spoke either Egyptian or Greek, right? Or Kemetic, Middle Nature or Greek. You know what I'm saying? These are things that people don't really quite understand, right? Because again, the indoctrination of their mind with religion and the fear of going to hell, right? Even the name Jesus or Jesus, that is a Greek name. That is not a, comes from the word Zeus, right? So that is a Greek name. That is not a Hebrew name, right? Okay. I'm not a historian, but I do study history. I do try to find historical sources when I can, particularly when I'm listening to our ancestors, whether they be black, white, Asian, or what have you, okay, Arab, what have you. If they spoke the truth, I'm reading their books or at least combing through their books and getting the historical facts, right? Or, you know what I'm saying? That's because, again, that's what you do. When you want to find the truth, that's what you do. You got to understand how to separate mythology from reality. And most of us today cannot do that, especially us in the black community, no matter whether throughout the diaspora. We cannot separate myth from reality. And that is a huge problem for us. Okay? That is a huge problem for us. Right? And we can't see it. And listen, learning the truth doesn't mean that you have to have a defeatist mindset. It just means that you should go and get the correct interpretation of the original source, and you will see that it has nothing to do with any supernatural or religious belief system, but its connection to who you are as a person, who we are as human beings, to nature, to the universe, right? It is our ancient ancestors' way of explaining certain things, right? The Kemetic Neterus, they're not gods in terms of how European will use the word God as if they're some supernatural being, No, they use things to explain what's going on, the forces of nature, thunder and lightning. When they said in the Bible, God's voice is thunder, right? With the burning bush, right? That God, Yahweh, was earlier worshipped as a volcanic god. Just like how you have in Mesoamerica, you had those native worshiping volcanic gods. They worship, all different kinds of netters. I should say netters, because that's, God comes from German. That's the German word. No one ever uses the word God in those times. No one ever in terms of the word and associate it with some deity in the sky, you know. No. The word was netter. They used netter, right? Netters, nature, right? So again, we have to have a deep dive. It's about understanding who you are. And as nature, we have a symbiotic relationship with every living being on this planet, including the plants, right? The plants breathe out oxygen, and they take in carbon dioxide, right? And it's funny, how did our ancestors know this, right? See, it shows you how advanced they were, and it shows you how much the church have hidden. Like I said this many times before, archaeologists and scientists have already said that the knowledge in which the church have, they have not destroyed all of it. They kept a lot of it and used it for themselves, because Christianity is white supremacy. Okay, you should understand that, right? So anyhow, so again, how did they understand these concepts? By studying it. This is how they were able to develop mathematics, right? Now, there is, everybody know about Pythagoras, who white Europeans claim to be the father of math, right? But Pythagoras went to Kemet to study the ancient mystery system. And you see, when they were building the very first pyramid, that pi, which you study in calculus, they were using that. The Pythagoras theorem, it's called the Kemetic theorem, mathematical theorem of pi, was already in existence, right? And we're talking about 2,000 years before Pythagoras. And there's proof of evidence of that. So, when we keep listening to Europeans and their lies they tell about us, it's all lies. It's all lies. When we are the parade and we talk about the floats, right? That's a Kemetic term, right? That's a Kemetic term, floats, right? During the spring festival, right? When they have the temple parade, they would carry these boats, right? These small little boats. They call them floats. So I want you to understand how Europeans knew our history. They knew it. That's why, again, they just took what we had, what we created, and they hid it from us and act as if they created this shit, and they didn't. It's all lies. Get out of the matrix. Learn the truth. All right, talk to you guys in the next video.